Synchronicity number 1. That's from the Police back in the good old days. It's Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. In case anyone's wondering, I am, yes, a little bit under the weather, so voice is a little different than normal. And one other thing, for those of you that have been doing the letting go thing, just want you to know that at first it feels a little freaky. That's normal. Just go with it. Let it roll, let it ride, let it go. Give it a few days and you will, seriously, you'll be writing in going, oh my God, trust me. But the first day is a little freaky. It's kind of like stopping doing anything. You feel weird. You feel like something's missing, right? Because you're not doing this thing you've been doing forever. So again, has nothing to do with today's shows. And normally I don't like the back-to-back shows like that as much, because if you're watching this show a year from when I actually published it, well, it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. But if you want to look at the show I just did prior, you'll probably see what I'm talking about when it comes to the letting go thing. But this one has to do with higher self and it communicating with us. Oh, what? Huh? I can actually get it to help me out? Yes! Your higher self is there, eager, waiting to help you. It's not just steering the boat sometimes when you're not paying attention, but it's actually wanting to help you out. It is you. Now, what is higher self? I don't know. You can call it a lot of things. There's the ego self or the conscious self, right? And then there's this higher self, or maybe you can call it spirit guides. Maybe you can call it higher awareness. You can call it God. You really can call it whatever you want. I prefer to keep it in the realm of it's you because that actually is true. But being us and us all being one, it's also your spirit guides. It's also God. It's God's within us. He's within, the whole thing. So whatever. That's kind of what the higher self is. I keep referring to that. I think it's a very powerful part of ourselves, and it's typically the part of us that's not overly conscious of what's going on in the world per se. But I'm sorry, the higher self is overly conscious. It's the lower self that generally doesn't know the bigger picture. Now, what is the higher self, or how does it seem to be able to help us from it so wonderfully? Because that's really what it's doing half the time, right? A higher self is basically the part of us that's still anchored in the higher dimensions, all right? Not to get crazy. I believe it's sixth. I don't know. You can study a lot of stuff, and it varies, but sixth dimension seems to be where, like, heaven is, to use, terminologies that are constant out there. Fifth dimension seems to be, fifth dimension's a totally different place. Fourth dimension seems to be more of, like, where ghosts and stuff are, right? And then we're in the third dimension, so that's kind of where all that's at. So your higher self is basically existing up in that dimension. So the higher self has this vantage point from way up top, way up from like almost like a mountainside, right? It's like way the heck up there. And it can see out in front of us. It can see what's going on. It can see in the future, really. It can see probable choices that are coming, but on top of that, it's shaking hands with other higher selves or other souls, and it's setting up deals for tomorrow. It's setting up situations. It's setting up, here's what I need you to do. Here's what we're going to do, and boom. And there's seriously a communication that goes on while we're sleeping or, even while we're awake. And it's just happening on a very spiritual kind of level. So it's a beautiful thing. And they can see each other and they know what's going on. And it's trying really hard to lead us. But a lot of us don't listen. So how do we get better at listening to our higher self? Because, frankly, it's constantly talking to us. Constantly. And actually, in my case, it starts to become your best friend. I have amazing conversations with my higher self all the time, or God, or whatever, and then sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll intentionally change it up and talk to, say, God, for example, or I've got a couple relatives that have passed away. I talk to them sometimes. Like, there's certain people that I like to stay in contact with. It's just how it works out. So again, you can hear these answers back because, again, it's your higher self. It's that voice that's coming from within. So one of the ways we'll know when the higher self is truly talking to us, or another way to put it is, how does it talk? What language does it use? Is it using sign language? Because I don't actually speak sign language. For those of you that do, I'm really sorry. I'm probably saying nothing. I know, like the standard, like middle finger and stuff like that. But and it's, anyway, I'm going to get off topic. But again, what is it using to communicate to us? Well, it's using feelings. That's how it communicates to us. It feels. So you're on the right path when something feels good. And when you're getting grumpy, frustrated, angry, blah, 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 or hurt, bummed, all those things, not good. You're not listening to your higher self. If you're feeling crummy, you're not listening to your higher self. If you're wondering that you keep hearing this like voice in your head that is like telling you you're fat or you're not good enough or any of those things, trust me, that's not your higher self. No. Higher self is always going to be saying things that are positive and things that are uplifting and things that are going to feel good. So if you're hearing other things, it's probably your inner chatter, your ego, your mind, the part of you that you have complete control of. That is where those thoughts are coming from. And if those thoughts exist, that is proof to you that there is self-love issues that need to go on. If those thoughts are popping into your head, there is self-love needed, period. And it's no one else's but yours, okay? Outside of that, the emotion, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel great. And that's how you know when it's leading you in the direction she's going. So a couple different ways that higher self, I guess that's 3, so technically a few different ways higher self communicates to us or speaks to us. A lot of times it's going to come through the feeling of excitement. When it's truly a soul calling, when it's truly something that resonates with your inner being, you are going to feel a level of excitement. It's going to be fun. You're going to be looking forward to it. It's going to be something I can't wait to do this. It's going to be some new job, new hobby, new something, some new knowledge that you're going to get into, some new practice you're going to start trying, some new meditative way to do things, or there's a couple techniques I learned, and I am going to do meditations, and I promise, I know I've been saying this, I've been trying to find ways to do it, and I think I figured out the first one I want to do, which is a very special meditation to me, and it has to do with our they call it, it's not the light body, but it's actually called the Merkaba, and it's the vehicle that surrounds us and really allows us to interdimensionally travel. That's way out of here, but it is a meditation for our Merkaba vehicle. That's something that's super important to me, and it's something I would listen to, and it would help me kind of be able to do that meditation because there's a couple hand movements in it, and I always forget which fingers I'm supposed to touch. So again, it's one of those things where I'm going to put it out, and it's a good one, and it's written by a guy I love. Melchizedek's his last name, and Drunvalo is his first name. He's written The Flower of Life, Part 1 and 2. Extremely recommend those. They're in the links below. There's a little Amazon link. You can get it there, or you can get it wherever you want. But that's the book. Drunvalo Melchizedek is an amazing guy, period. And he's written some other really, really fascinating stuff. I've probably read about 5 of his books overall. Definitely read both of the Flower of Life books. Amazing stuff. Again, Soul's going to talk to you. Those books get into a lot of our ancient history, a lot of who we are. It gets back into the Egyptians, all this amazing stuff. And it definitely helps us learn how to listen to that guidance and how to really get ourselves in tune, how to get our chakras lined up. There's a whole lot of things that go into it. Again, off topic, we're listening to our higher self. It's going to come through as excitement. That's the important part for most of us. And that's how you know you're listening to it, because it feels good. It's going to feel good. It's not going to feel questionable. It's not going to feel scary. You might feel nervous, scary. Like there's a difference between like total fright and, I totally want to do this, but I'm scared. That's cool. That's awesome. That's the right kind of fear. When you're feeling that kind of fear, awesomeness. That's just because it's something you're not sure of, but you really want to do it, so you're going to do it anyway. Bam, nailed it. You got it. So that's good stuff. Number 2, another way to get easy, intentional communications with your higher self is through intention. And one of the easiest ways to do this, because it truly, really, truly is one of the easiest ways to do this, is to tell yourself, I would like to remember my dreams. I would like to wake up remembering my dreams. When you tell yourself that before you go to bed, it actually commits that into your brain. It makes a little deal between your higher self and your lower self, and it allows you to kind of put that ball in play. It allows you to make that happen. So it's intention. It's basically saying, this is consciously what I would like to do, higher self, and higher self's like, all right, conscious self, I'll help you do that. So how does this play out at first? For sure, is you'll wake up after the dream in the middle of the night. It'll be 1 in the morning, and you will have just woken up from an awesome dream, and you will remember it. If you go back to bed, you will not remember it in the morning, period. End of story, promise you, guarantee. If you don't immediately start writing it down, you will forget it within about 5 minutes. Meaning, if you don't have a pad and paper next to your bedstand, you are probably not going to write it down. So, if you're going to try the intention thing, pad of paper, a pen, ready to write, especially, that's one of those things where living in the end, right? Ready to write, meaning before you go to bed, scribble, it's good to go now, put it down, it's ready to go, because you're going to be waking up in about 5 hours, and you're going to need to write down your dream or write down whatever crazy cryptic message just came through. And then when you wake up in the morning, you can look at it and go, oh yeah, I kind of remember that dream. That was weird. But again, it is how your higher self's going to talk to you. It's going to talk to you through symbology frequently. Sometimes it'll be straightforward and very easy to understand. Most of the time, it's going to be symbolic. And symbols are unique to you. There's a lot of people that are like, well, what's this symbol mean? And I'm going to go to a dream dictionary. Well, there are some generic basic symbols that as a humanity we generally get behind. But a shooting star may mean something totally different to you than it does me. If I have a dream, I should say, and there's a shooting star in it, that means something very specific to me, period. So I wouldn't use that symbol in a dream unless it was referring to that sort of level of communication or in that direction. So the intention's a very powerful part of making these things happen. And lastly, one of the greatest things, and why I played the first song I played coming in, honestly, when your higher self is truly talking to you, one of the things that you will notice, and it's total, Neville Goddard's talked about it, Abraham Hicks has talked about it, a lot of teachers have talked about it. It's when you get these synchronicities, these coincidences, these things that happen that are like, no way, that's like exactly what I was just thinking, or wow, that's exactly what I was just working on, or oh my God, I was totally thinking about her, or whatever. The synchronicities, when we start thinking and creating, right? Goddard talks about, we're going to see these signs, another word for it. All these words mean the same thing, mind you. Sign, coincidence, synchronicity, all. So for people that are like, what's the difference between a sign and a coincidence? Nothing. Zero. Zip, zilch, nada. Only difference is someone that calls something a coincidence doesn't actually believe it's legit. Now, I use the word finger quotes or use it loosely because that's what a lot of people consider interesting, cool things that happen to us on a regular basis. Because they can't handle it. Their belief systems have a hard time with the fact that our higher selves are constantly speaking to us in the physical world with these little random odd coincidences. So that is one of the very profound and powerful ways that the higher self is going to walk into your world and go, hey, right? Oh, I'm sorry, didn't see it. There it is. I actually hit myself harder than I meant to. But that being said, woke me up, that's for sure. So higher self's going to work these things out and talk to you. It's intention in most cases. There's no fancy schmancy thing you got to do, no certain pose, no place, no butterfly, no lotus blossom, no breathing exercises necessary. Just higher self, do this for me. Thank you. Rock on, brother. Rock on. And that is all you really need to do. You can do meditations and try to talk to your higher self. It's very groovy. I highly recommend that. That's kind of a different thing, right? But again, just getting assistance from your higher self is really a conscious agreement between the part of us, the ego, whatever, the part of us that's aware of everything and going, hey, look at that. Oh, hey, it's hot outside. That part of us is making a deal with the part of us that's like, all right, so I got to hook this dude up with his significant person or he's going to actually go batshit crazy. So we need to make sure that changes, and that's what we're going to do. So off we go. We're shaking hands and shaking babies and whatever they do for fun, higher selves. I'm kidding, of course. They don't, of course, say shaking babies, but that's not, whatever. So all that being said, higher self is here, big picture, wants to see us all win. It's just an issue of us consciously choosing to talk to it. It's there. And it's a lot of fun once you truly shake the hand of your higher self and begin having a relationship with your higher self or with God or whatever. Because it's similar too, by the way. And God, I don't know, I never really got a huge difference, but I do. There's a slight personality difference I'm starting to get where like it's just different. But needless to say, I think a little bit of all of us are in everything, like, right? So I don't know. There's a level of this, but you're definitely working on that connection with that inner self, and it's super, super duper powerful. Going out with a great song by ELO, which stands for Electric Light Orchestra. It's called Smooth Talking Woman. It's right here on Dan Radio Style.